What's up guys, Jakob Owens here for the Buff Nerds, and recently I just dropped a music video that I shot in Kauai with Futuristic. If you guys are followers of this channel or Futuristic, you probably saw the video already, and I've been receiving a lot of questions of how I colored the video, how I did some of the editing and sounds, and so I want to briefly go over that today and show you guys how. So first off, right off the bat, here's the LUT on and off. That is raw drone footage from the Phantom 4. And then this is the LUT I have thrown over top. I have two LUTs actually. So yeah, I'm gonna go into breaking that down, how I colored it, and kind of showing you a little bit of tips as well as editing. So first off, right off the bat, you can see my timeline. Throughout the entire timeline, there's sound effects down here. And the reason that is because we wanted to create the effect that you felt like you were there when you were watching the video. So here I have some waterfall sound effects to go along with the waterfall shot. Here I have some wind sound effects. You can see wind sound effect to go along with the kind of breeze and the airy feel of the shot. You see the wind blowing here on a shirt. So throughout the whole video, I have sound effects that all I did was either rip from YouTube or I downloaded from this place called Boom Library. They have some incredible sound effects, and they're where I get a lot of my sound effects from. They're kind of expensive, but really high quality, well worth it. So yeah, right off the bat, that's how we made the edit all come together and make you feel like you were there. And so yeah, let's get into the coloring a bit here. So if you come to the shot here, you go to the effects tab, you can see I have two Lumetri color. I always color in the Lumetri color effect. So I'll come into here, the effects tab, I'll drag Lumetri color onto an adjustment layer, and I always color on an adjustment layer because then it affects everything below that adjustment layer, and I want all my footage, all my clips to have the same style of coloring, and then from there I can change and tweak individual clips. So right off the bat, first thing I did is I selected, if you go down to the creative, I selected a Fuji 500D Kodak LUT. That's actually just a LUT in Adobe. That was my main LUT. So I threw that on there, and what I did for this video in particular, because it has a slightly faded look, it's not super contrasty, is I then took the faded film, dragged that up to about 20. I actually dropped the saturation a bit, so that was in the creative tab right there. Then if I come back up here to the basic correction of this LUT, I dropped the temperature a little bit so it wasn't too warm, and I dropped the exposure. Now if you notice, the clip has a very kind of dark feeling throughout the whole video. There's a slight, darkness about it. Again, there's a raw clip from my 1DX Mark II shot on CineStyle. Throw the LUT back on so you can see the before and after there. So yeah, I dropped the exposure to -4, boosted the contrast slightly. Now I took the highlights down to -40. If I drag those up, you can see how the highlights kind of not blow out the image, but just I wanted it to have a flatter look in this video. So I dragged that down to -40, and it kind of flattens the image out a bit. Shadows, again, I wanted to have a darker feel, so instead of up there, dragged them down to about a -25 or so. And then the blacks, the same thing, drag that to -20. So you can see the overall arching color of this video is just a darker feel, and I wanted to go moodier with it, and that's why. So again, raw before and after, and so yeah, that's kind of my main color LUT right in there. But then what I did is I stacked and threw on another color LUT, which I used Tropic Colors Vintage Maryland LUT. So in their vintage pack, in Tropic Colors vintage pack, I used the Maryland LUT, but I dialed the intensity back to 35. So here it is at 100. That actually doesn't look too bad either. It's a little OD, but yeah, I just wanted it to have a slight, I love the Maryland LUT in Tropic Color, so it adds a nice warmth to the shot and kind of a vintage look, but I just took that and I dialed it back to about a 35 or 40 to just kind of give it an extra little, you can see on and off there. Can you see that? So I think it adds a nice little touch. So that's something you can do in Premiere. You can stack LUTs. You don't have to just use one. You can kind of stack them and adjust them in different ways to dial in your exact look. LUTs should never be a one preset fits all thing. You should always tweak them, dial them in, and mess with them a bit. So yeah, from that LUT, I just faded that one a bit, and that was it. So stacking a couple LUTs, and again, before and after on that one. And then from there, the last thing I did to color this video. So here's before and after on this clip. There's the raw from my 1DX, and there's the LUT before and after. So you can tell big difference, but you can see how the drop in the exposure really creates this darker, moodier feel, which is something I really like when I'm coloring, especially a lot of outdoor footage. So yeah, again, before and after, big difference. So last thing I always do is levels. I always throw on a levels and then tweak the levels. So right here, you can see the before and after. So that's the final, and that's before. So before, it was a little contrasty, so I came into the levels. I added the levels from the effects tab, threw on the levels, and then what I did is I came here to the RGB black and I boosted that to 10, and that just kind of flattens it out a bit. So if I go here, that's without, then I do 10, and see how it kind of flattens it a bit. So if I drag that up, you can see it really takes it flat. But so set to 0, set to 10, bam, you can see just kind of the slight difference there, flattens it out, gives it this cool little faded film look. But yeah, I always dial in a look with levels, and again, if you have certain clips that are too dark or too bright, I'll drag levels onto individual clips and adjust them as needed. Then to finalize the video, I just threw on a little sharpening, nothing too much. I think I threw on around a 10 actually on the final video. Nothing crazy, just a little sharpening to sharpen it up. I didn't want to sharpen the image too much because I wanted it to kind of have a little vintage film feel, but threw on a little sharpening, and that's really it. That's how I colored and edited this video, guys. So appreciate you guys for watching. You know, I'll link all the different items I use in the description below, like the sound effects for the website for the sound effects, as well as the Tropicolor LUTs and all that good stuff. So if you haven't checked out the video yet, make sure you go check it out. I'll link that in the description below as well, or throw it up on the screen. But make sure you guys stay tuned, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Ooh, that's pretty. See that change? Colors everything, guys. Colors everything. Alright, guys. Appreciate you guys for watching. I'm Jakob Owens for the Buff Nerds, and I'm out.